Hey guys, so we're going to teach you some very simple exercises to fix your runner's knee, and it involves mobilizing and strengthening your hips as well as getting the inside and outside of your knee muscles activated. So we're going to begin with a very simple hip mobility move.
So prying goblet squat. You can do this with a kettlebell. Richard's doing it just with his body weight. And what he's doing is going to get his elbow into his knees and push those knees out. Okay, that's going to really start working that hip capsule, opening up a bit of space. We want to make sure that when we're running or when we're doing any activity, the actual hip can move. If you've been sat down all day, it's probably stiff as anything. So this is a good exercise. Spend as much time as you want in this. It probably won't be easy when you start. You'll probably struggle to get down as low as Richard. But you want to make this
more than anything. I'm already warmed up, so it's a little bit easier for me. But at the start, you're just here. That's okay. Just work in it.
Yeah.
Push your elbows out into the knees.
In Richard's hand, you could put a kettlebell, which would be a counterweight, which is quite good. It allows you to sit a bit deeper. So once you've kind of opened up, there you go. That's it. They call it arse to grass. And as you can see, Richard's got a really straight back, which is really, really nice as well.
Yeah, the straighter the better. The tendency is going to want to be like this at the start. But if you can, even in that position, if you get yourself straighter, you're going to avoid stressing your mid-back.
And it will take a bit of time to get into that position, but that's where you should endeavour to go.
And start to drop the knees in.
Yep, that's it. Really, really working those hips hard. If they're sat at a desk, if you're just on a chair or in a car, then they're probably not moving at all. This is going to be challenging, but this will do a lot of good. You can do this at the end of a workout, beginning of a workout. I'd suggest doing it at the beginning, get everything moving.
Yeah, so these are just the beginning stages, getting your hips loose. An awful lot of runners' knee is driven by an imbalance through all sorts of areas of your low back, hips, inner and outer thighs, even right down to the foot. So I'm working my plantar fascia here, I'm working my posterior tibialis, I'm working my adductors, I'm working my glute medius, I'm working my hip flexor even in certain points here, all the quads, the rec fems, even in a certain point my hamstring is helping to guide this movement. So it's awakening and immobilizing throughout.
Yeah, and if you
lower chain, really.
Exactly. And if you can't move at the hips or the ankle, you're going to move at the knee, and the knee doesn't really want to move. It's not designed the same way as a hip.
Yeah, you can move kind of in and out of the two, get back into it. So that's a really nice warm up. Spend 2-3 minutes doing that.
And then we're going to activate. So we've opened up the hips, and now we're going to use a band just to activate the muscles.
It's all about getting your glute medius or your hip abductor muscles. These are the ones that stabilize your pelvis as you run. If you've got a weak glute medius, what happens is your pelvis does this. And if you get that sideways imbalance in your body and you times it by 10K, 15K, 20K of running, it's no surprise then that you end up with irritation on the side of the knee. So very simple, you just step side to side. You can use any kind of strength elastic band that you can handle. Try out a few until you feel you've got a reasonable amount of resistance. And you very quickly start to feel it working in the glutes. That's how you know you've got it. Then we'll go back the other way.
I mean, one thing about running and cycling and any kind of endurance activities, it tends to be on one plane. You tend to be just running forwards or swimming forwards. Your legs go in the same direction. You don't do any kind of lateral movement. Yep. You don't really open up the hips. So if you don't use it, your body doesn't see any need for it. So it's good to maintain it using these exercises.
Absolutely, variety is really, really crucial for staying injury free. Even if you've got brilliant structure, super strong, and you get yourself into a single plane of movement and you do it repetitively, you run the risk of overuse injuries. Just quite simply because you keep grooving the same groove all the time and your body needs the variety. So this next one, we call it the hip dip. This is a more engaging muscle exercise to activate the glute medius. So what you're doing, if you show down my feet there, what you're trying to do is keep the standing leg straight on the edge of you could use a coffee table, or you could use a step, it's probably the safest thing. What you do is you keep that standing leg straight and you drop your pelvis. You won't be able to drop it very far, but there's a definite drop there of maybe 3 inches. And then you hoik it back up, keeping the leg straight. So that's a very strong glute medius activation there.
You don't need to spend ages on these exercises. What we don't want to do is just give you a load of physio. We want to make sure that this is something that's complementary to help you run without pain, but also excel. You know, if you want to be good at your sport, then you've got to do stuff around it, because it's going to come at a bit of a cost pushing yourself. And these exercises will really, really help you be more efficient.
You want to do both sides of this, because very often it's the side opposite where you've got the runner's knee. The side opposite the pain will be the side of the weak glute medius. So make sure you get both sides. And I would aim for doing 3 sets of 12 on those.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
Single leg deadlifts.
Single leg deadlifts, a little bit more demanding, requires some balance and practice. So don't worry if you're not masterful straight away. I'm certainly not masterful yet, but they still work really well. So you can have something that you are going to stabilize yourself with. We're using a medicine ball at the moment. Essentially, what you want to do is go into the deadlift position, but you're standing on one leg. And if you get wobbly, you can just hold on to this ball.
Yeah, so this is a hinge. It's not a squat. You can see that Richard's just kind of moving at his hip joint, swiveling around like a lever. This is going to really strongly activate his glutes. And all the stabilizing muscles around the hips are going to be working overtime. And, you know, if you're running, then you're doing a load of one-leg squats, you know, hundreds and hundreds of times. And you're going to be spending a lot of time on one leg. Now, if you can't control this, it tells me there's a bit to work on. You need to work on your balance. You need to work on all those muscles that are triggering them correctly. If you can do it slowly, then you'll be able to do it fast.
Pretty challenging.
Pretty challenging, yeah.
But they are huge, high reward movements. Get your hamstring, your glute, all working together in an organized way. Even right through to the plantar fascia, the posterior tibialis, all the stabilizing muscles of your ankles and your feet are also working incredibly hard in that move. So,
well, when we talk about ankles, we don't want to forget them. They're difficult to train because we don't really think about our ankles, but we spend a lot of time when we're running putting a bit of force through them, and often they're locked out because of the shoes we wear, because of, you know, being sedentary or whatever. So we're going to do a stretch to finish off, just to mobilize the ankle, work on the Achilles and some of the calf muscles as well. So Rich is going to be on the floor. He's going to be in a kneeling position, and he has one knee. As you can see, this knee isn't too far back. If it's too far back, he's going to be stretching out the hip. And he's going to put all his weight over the front of his leg. And he's just going to hold that there. And he's going to spend maybe a minute and a half. He's not, that heel there is on the floor.
So this is an Achilles stretch, essentially. Yeah. Achilles, most likely you get your gastroc and your Achilles. You may get some soleus here.
That's it.
But it takes some time. You've got to have patience with it. You might not feel it stretch on your first go, but you can switch to the other side.
Yeah.
Get that one again. You might find that you've learnt a little bit neurologically from your first effort. So again, we hold that. And now when I come back to the other side, interestingly, second time around, it's a lot easier to get into it.
Yeah.
So if you don't feel it the first time, you know, just play around with it until you can feel that.
Sometimes I like to just push my toes into the floor as hard as I can and then breathe out, and that releases a bit more length.
Yeah, so you can do that. Yep. You can push your toes down, so you're kind of trying to activate your calf, and then when you relax it, you'll go into it more easily.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you one more actually. Aim to hold that for about 30 seconds to a minute. Don't overcook it. Just with any stretch, just go to the first initial barrier and just maintain it there, you know, and build it up slowly. The final one is it's kind of a glide loosener for the whole lateral complex really of your thigh, which involves a lot of different muscles, a lot of different ligaments and fascias. But it's kind of, it's just a bit of a silly walk really. You step forward, one leg and your other knee drops down behind it. And so my knee is coming out underneath the other one, so I'm swinging it underneath. And then you step up, step forward, and you same the other side, drop the knee down and bring it underneath. So this is the mobility and the strengthener for the side of hip, side of leg. But you're really working a hell of a lot as you bring your knee underneath. The adductors are working on both legs. So it's a tremendously effective at just single move. You're getting a lot of stuff going at the same time.
Lunges are typically one of the hardest exercises for any of my clients, variety of reasons. There's certainly something to practice.
For sure. Lunge is another good one to add into the mix. This is like a modified mobility lunge. but also getting back to the basic lunges. I mean, they're a runner's staple, so if you're not doing those, definitely throw them in the mix as well. All right, so good luck with those.
Thanks a lot.
Hit us up with any questions in the comments box below. We'll see you on the next one.